Vanguard Report, code number 221212. Subject, Osiris. No one asked me to make this report, but I have, nonetheless. Despite the grand movements of our allies and enemies and the deep investigations into secrets long past, sometimes it's the little things that matter most. Osiris has awakened. After a disconcerting year of near-death, possession, seeming betrayal, falling comatose, and back again, the Phoenix has risen. However, so too have suspicions over him. Welcome back everyone to another Vanguard Report. Kaz PhD here. Today I file a report that I hope is seen not just by the Vanguard, not just by my fellow citizens, but by the subject himself, Osiris. In an effort to ease tensions within our ranks and provide some insight, I'm transmitting this report on an open broadcast. Osiris, self-proclaimed Phoenix of the Dark Age, scholar of the cosmos. So much can be said. Few guardians have been around as long as him. Few have led a life as historic, and very few have caused as much contention within the city as Osiris. Perhaps you are a new light, or have been too busy to follow the controversy. Perhaps you are Elixir or Cabal and do not yet know the legends of Osiris. Osiris was the first Warlock Vanguard commander. He fought at the Battle of Six Fronts, and he was Ikora's mentor. He was one of the first to identify the true threat from the Vex, and his zeal over protecting us from them, coupled with some bad publicity, led to his exile. Osiris peered into the infinite forest, believed he could make sense of multiple timelines, and attempted to chart the possible futures. However, his work sounded like prophecy, a claim he did little to dissuade, and it led to his banishment. He was rescued from said forest, allowed to return to the Vanguard, and used his knowledge, his hubris, to rescue Saint 14, also trapped in the forest. Despite the zealotry, the arrogance, Osiris's love for Saint transcended time itself, and through it, a paragon of titans was returned to us. I mention all this not to inflate his ego, but to remind us all, Osiris included, that his past has been riddled with accomplishment and concern. Every good deed went hand in hand with questionable behavior, obsession, arrogance, a disregard of the people around him, failing to see the small picture while too focused on the big. Osiris has been guilty of this, and worse, but through it all, he has always tried to help. For over a year, Osiris has not been himself, literally. When Zevorath's Cryptolith took root in various places in our system, Osiris was one of the first to investigate. His travels took him to the moon, to a hive ritual summoning Zevu's chief lieutenants. Perhaps it was pride, or perhaps it was concern over timing. Whatever it was, Osiris made the decision to face this celebrant alone. Well, not alone. With his light and his ghost Sagira, the Phoenix of the Dark Age stood his ground. Until he didn't. His light was almost snuffed out. Sagira sacrificed herself to save him. All for Savathun to possess him, take his place. Since that time, Savathun has been masquerading as Osiris, offering us counsel, acting our friend, learning our secrets. This betrayal was revealed during Season of the Lost, and after exorcising the Witch Queen, Osiris has been lost in a coma until now. When I heard the news that Osiris had finally awakened, I badly wanted to see them, Osiris and Saint. So much hardship, so much time lost. I wanted to see them united. But I didn't go right away. Thought it best to give them some time. However, not long later I arrived, having brought some meals I had prepared in the tower and some seeds I found in the Cosmodrome. Thought they'd make a nice gift. But Osiris wasn't there. He was gone. Saint looked hollow. I could tell he was relieved to have Osiris back, but the man had barely been awake for a day or so before he began rushing about, going on about some dream or secret he had stolen from Savathun. I reminded the Titan of atoms, electrons circling protons. Opposite charges, the electron seemingly more energetic, but always coming back to orbit the proton. Saint smiled. It wasn't my best metaphor, but it was enough. Not long after, I caught an argument between Saint and Ikora. Well, it was meant to be a closed-door argument, but Saint is a loud guy. I dropped my ship off in the tower hangar and noted that Saint was not there, not tending the trials. I casted a glance over to Holiday, but she shrugged. On my way to grab some chow, that's when I heard them, Ikora and Saint, arguing about Osiris. I didn't catch much, didn't really want to, but I was there when Saint stormed out. I stopped him, put a hand on his shoulder. He tried to stare me down, tower over me, but I knew better. He had taught me that move, and in turn, I had taught it to him. I raised a bag of birdseed and tilted my head. Walking along a lonely part of the wall, Saint confided in me. Ikora wasn't sure if she could trust Osiris. She had sent agents to Neptune to see if Osiris's dream proved true, but found nothing. Cautious and wise as always, Ikora admitted that it could all be a trick by Savathun. She was just trying to do what she thought was right, I told him. She wants to believe him, but she was tricked too, I reminded him. Bah! She probably has hidden agents following him right now, he told me. It will take time, was all I could say. Later, I went to the Elixir Quarter. Work is still underway toward developing the area, and I like to help where and when I can. After a bit of heavy lifting and light gardening, I made my way to the empty tank. Loud and rambunctious as ever, I caught a couple of new songs, Elixir human hybrid melodies. They still hadn't fixed the jukebox. Spider called me over, asked me if I had seen Osiris. Not recently. Why? I asked. Thought you might be looking for him. He was here earlier. Him and that grumpy one. Grumpy one? I asked. Always frowning. Never looks comfortable. Always looks like she's about to shut this place down. He said, a chuckle mixed with a grunt escaped him. Honor, I said. Where'd they go? Beats me, Spider said, helpful as always. On a hunch, I had Ghost do a little recon. For some reason, I didn't think Osiris had gone far. Strange to think of him in the empty tank. Stranger still to see him mixed up with Honor Mahal, Ikora's lead Praxic Warlock and overall sheriff, for lack of a better term. A little while later, Lazarus, my ghost, returned to me. When we got back to my ship, Laz showed me the whole thing. How Osiris was hiding out in the Botsa district. How Honor was following him. How he confronted her and she revealed to him that she was following him to keep him safe. Oh boy, that's not good, I said. Osiris was once considered to be one of the most powerful guardians. Now he was being escorted around like someone's grandpa. That would not sit well. I wanted to find Osiris, speak with him, find out more about his situation. He and I have never been close, but I thought maybe a helpful but removed third party could help his situation. But I couldn't find him. He wasn't at home, he wasn't with the Elixir or in the tower. On a whim, I went to the helm and spoke with Crow, another person I hadn't checked in with for a bit. I wanted to see how he was doing. He had only known Savathun posing as Osiris, and I wasn't quite sure how he would be feeling. Crow was quiet, aloof, not mad, just quiet. He said he had been in contact with Saladin recently and that the Iron Lord had mentioned Osiris. Giving him a supportive smile, I set a course for the Cabal fleet. Docking my ship, I was escorted to Saladin Forge. I did my best to thank my escort in Ularund, but it's a tough language to get around if you don't have tusks or the right vocal cords. Lord Saladin Forge was looking over some maps when I arrived. "Ah, young wolf, come in," he said. We exchanged some intel, shared a dry observation or two about things in the city, when I brought up Osiris. "Who I have tea with is my own business," Saladin said. "So you did see him?" I responded. Saladin stared me down. What is it with Titans? Did they forget that I am one? I held his gaze, stood my ground, but in a comfortable way. This is not life or death. It allowed Saladin an out, and me a way forward. "I invited him here to check on him," the Valis said. "How's he doing?" I asked. "He feels powerless and untrusted. He worries that he is not enough," Saladin told me, matter-of-factly. I left the fleet feeling frustrated. No one should be made to feel like this, especially not someone who has spent their exceptionally long life trying to help humanity. I wanted to continue my search, but duty called. I started a new rotation, working with Anna to help rebuild Rasputin. And who do I hear over the comms? Osiris. Not the right time to hash this out, I held my tongue, did my job. Afterward, in the helm, while I was filing mission reports, I caught a transmission between Anna and Osiris. Again, I didn't mean to, but I guess I had been rerouting transmissions for so long, trying to uncover patterns and secrets, that, well, it just happened. Old habit. While it was a private conversation, it reveals nothing classified, so I will play it in its entirety. I believe we all need to hear it.
Working late.
Aren't you?
Zane wants to know if you'd like some tea, coffee, whatever it is you drink.
That's thoughtful of him.
I used to say the same thing. How thoughtful, thank you, Saint. Except I never looked up, not once. My eyes were on my fingers stained with ink, the smudges on the margins of my work. I cared more about my findings than the tea cooling beside me, or the feelings of the man who made it. You're not listening.
I am listening.
Then listen well. Your work will outlive you. The people around you might not. One day you're going to wake up, assuming you've even slept at all, and realize that the world is a very different place than the last time you remembered to look at it. You will abruptly, viscerally regret the absence of something as small as a single cup of tea. So I ask you again, what would you like to drink?
Oolong. With a spot of honey.
A spot of honey? Why am I not surprised?
All of this running around, all of this skulking, brooding, private messages and conversations, and Osiris reached the conclusion before I did. Since waking up, Osiris has already been through a lot. He has had his purpose and his trust questioned. He has been doubted, followed, pitied. On our few missions together, I have sensed his pain over the comms. When I first encountered Xivu's forces on Europa trying to break Clovis Bray, Osiris's words were venomous, full of primal, absolute pain. Later, when he transmitted down and introduced himself to Clovis, it was a bittersweet moment. On the one hand, Osiris introducing himself with this full, grandiose title, it was a little much. seemed like compensation in the face of doubt. At the time, though, it just struck me as arrogance. And it was kind of delightful to watch Clovis Bray shut him down. If the two of them are going to ego-check each other for the next few weeks, well, as Anna says, I'm here for it. However, we all have lessons to learn. Most of us need to learn to be better at opening our ranks, welcoming others in. Osiris lost his light, yes, and he was possessed by Savathun, sure. But he is a leader, a mentor, with more experience than most. The role of Guardian does not stop at Lightbearer, but applies to all who wish to see the city's people safe. Often we find ourselves settled into our role, our social circle. We feel empowered by our own experience and elite groups, and we forget to have perspective, to have the humility and wisdom to let others in. If we keep forgetting that, we will lose many wonderful opportunities to make friends and allies. But Osiris, if you're listening to this, you have a lesson to learn too. I am glad that you finally woke up. Not just literally, but to the love and life you share. I apologize for broadcasting this, but your relationship with Saint has been the talk of Guardians across the system. We want you both to be happy, and we have all waited for you to open your eyes to what truly matters. It was good to see you impart this lesson to Anna, but I get the sense that you have not embraced it yourself, that you hold on to it like some kind of martyr. Your situation has changed, yes, but Saint's love is unwavering. Live your life, hold true to your beliefs, but also to those you love. Don't make the same mistake twice. Anyway, Guardians, I'm sure that is enough for us all for now. I apologize for the somewhat emotional, tender-filled report, but I sometimes feel that Guardians lose track of their humanity among the grind for loot and the conquering of enemies. We are all people. We all feel. And sometimes it is important to remind ourselves of the extremely obvious. That about wraps up my report. I hope things progress well for our allies here, and I hope you have found this report interesting and useful. If you wish to hear more, be sure to subscribe to this channel's frequency, or join my various communities linked below. As always, I hope that you be safe, be kind, and I'll see you all next time, Guardians. Bye now.